Hey, what's going on, guys? So Dan here at Stockability. So I want to take a little moment here to go over Tesla real quickly, talk about a few things. So this week was interesting in Tesla. They added a few things to the balance sheet. Most notably, obviously, Bitcoin was added to the balance sheet. So obviously, across the board, there's a lot of speculation as to what they can do with that, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So there's just a lot of talk about it. Again, when I look at the markets, here's my kind of taking this pretty briefly on it as this. I look at price action in companies, um, unless it's special situation like a spinoff or it's a SPAC. There's different things fundamentally that drive those companies. Right now, I understand some fundamental concepts with the balance sheet of Tesla and Bitcoin being put on it, but again, it's pretty much momentum based at this point. Now, whether people like it or not, that's just, I mean, again, I try to look at things objectively in markets, and not get too tied up into, emotional opinions as to why a stock's going to go higher or lower. So there's some interesting things I want to talk about here in this video. In addition to that, my opinion on that, because we had some questions on it. Just to reiterate, I don't have an opinion either way on the Bitcoin position on their balance sheet. Do I think it helps? It could. I don't know. I will comment on one thing here in the price action of what happened with that news. The price action wasn't positive, so that's interesting to me, which I'll talk about in my analysis. Again, nobody's going to like this, I don't think, for people that like Tesla, but again, I guess this just means you get a chance at buying the stock lower. So I do think Tesla's headed lower. I think we're in for probably a 10% move lower on the stock. So I'll talk about why in a second. So yesterday the stock had a put call ratio of about 1.25. It looks like there's a lot of naked put selling going on the stock yesterday, which is interesting. I don't get it, but I kind of have a feeling of what's going on there, that people are trying to push the stock higher through that. So there was 1.6 million options traded yesterday on the stock, and then 35 million shares traded yesterday. Today's price action, as I looked at it, there was only 21 million shares traded on this. On the option side, again, it's hard to make out too much. I haven't really seen much. The options trading, the flow on this stock, it's too hard to find much of anything. The volume today was about 800,000, so literally half of yesterday's action. The amount of action yesterday was insane, but obviously the difference yesterday, the stock was down pretty heavily from that level. So let me talk to you about why I think this stock from a technical perspective is a short. Again, nothing to do with fundamentals, which again, I know a lot of you, from what I've seen online briefly, and I don't get too in depth on the forums, but I read some articles here and there, have opinions as to why the stock's going higher. Look, I think it probably goes higher, but short term, I think it's going lower. So the news came out this week. This is pre-market this week of the Bitcoin position. So there wasn't I don't think it was a big shock, because I saw something in December saying that somebody leaked they had it on their balance sheet. That, and I guess it was somebody at Tesla that maybe leaked it. But again, it's the internet. It's hard to believe a lot of things. So that news came out pre-market and moved higher. But you didn't see this massive, like when this thing, you get news on this stock, you get these massive moves. You get these 70, 80, 90, 100. Like, it's just relentless buying on this equity. Okay, that's typically what's indicative of when this stock is moving really, really well. I mean, look back in December, just everyday relentless moves, moves, moves. Really, since January, the start of January, all this equity is done, right, is pretty much trade sideways. We haven't really broken to new trend highs. You've kind of got to the zone and you've range bound, right? You tested the lows, pulled back, news came out, and again, we tested the lows. You're kind of pulling back here. So again, in simplistic terms, yeah, can we come back and can we gap fill here? Of course, I think so. But again, the fact that news came out of them adding Bitcoin to the balance sheet and it didn't move, that bothers me, right? So that's kind of an insight to why I'm kind of leaning short on this. Number two, when I look at the large time frames, and one of the things we talk about in foundational abilities is time frames and price action. Again, 90% of what I do is price action based. What we teach in foundational abilities is a 70-30 model. It's 30% fundamentals, and we overlay a technical concept on it. So when I look at this stock, you can tell me all the narratives you want about fundamentals and what you think of Elon Musk and the cars, and all that's opinion based, okay, which is why markets are what they are. But I look at the price action, and price action always tells the truth, whether it's a SPAC or it's Tesla or it's Apple or it's Tilray or GameStop. Price action always tells typically a large part of the story of where equity price is heading. So when I look at this weekly candle, this is pretty bearish, right? So I am cautious to this, and I do think if you lose this kind of range that it's been in, I think this is in for a move into 700, 720. So again, the price action yesterday, the options trading on that, there was a lot of naked put selling. I think this might get pretty hairy pretty quickly. So that, and again, looking at S&P and the Russell and some other indicators, I think the markets are slowly starting to trade sideways and to top out, and I think you're getting distribution across the markets. So my kind of take right now into the next 2-3 weeks into February is I do think Tesla is a short. As long as we stay below about 830 on this, I think we're going to trade lower into 700, 720. So that being said, like and subscribe to our channel. Whether or not you like my take on this, that's just my analysis personally. So I'll be back with more videos, but make sure to like and subscribe so you get updates when we upload new videos to our YouTube channel.